Hello, beautiful souls. Today we are talking about feminine awakening. I recently gave an interview and the last question asked was, what is a sign that someone needs a feminine awakening? And quite honestly, I had had a really rough day. I wasn't feeling clear or embodied, and I totally botched the answer. So I decided to make a video specifically addressing this topic because it's just too good of a question for me to not dive into that answer more fully. In our fast-paced world, it's so easy to lose touch with our authentic selves, and finding true joy and contentment can feel elusive. But I have found that a powerful and essential key to unlocking this happiness already lies within, and that is to embrace our inner feminine. Regardless of gender, we all have both masculine and feminine energies within us, though they do tend to be out of balance because of the way society has been programmed. Consciously learning about and embracing our inner feminine allows us to connect with our more authentic self and live life more fully. But before we dive into all that, I think it's crucial to understand that embracing our inner feminine does not mean disregarding our masculine traits. Instead, it involves finding a balance between these two energies. Feminine qualities such as intuition, empathy, and emotional depth complement the more masculine traits of assertiveness, logic, and action. By acknowledging and harmonizing these aspects, we can cultivate a sense of wholeness, leading to a deeper appreciation of life's beauty and happiness along the journey. And so today, I want to share the 5 signs that indicate it's time to embrace your feminine essence. So let's dive in. 1. Experiencing burnout and exhaustion. Modern life can be overwhelming, and we often find ourselves juggling numerous responsibilities, leaving little time for self-care. And most of us don't even fully recognize just how much rest we actually need. Back in 2017, I was experiencing some health problems, and part of the investigation into what was happening was to complete a hormone panel. I was actually shocked at the results. I was told that I was in stage 3 of adrenal fatigue with very little circulating cortisol, which is the hormone that keeps us awake. I was shocked because I was fully functional, but I was also living on uppers and stuck in a pattern of borrowing energy from my future self, which had led to the total depletion of the very hormone that I needed to feel energized throughout the day. It was a real wake-up call for me to slow down and take care of myself. Once I had actual awareness of the condition, I started to feel just how tired I really was, and I went into healing mode. A big part of that healing was to embrace more of my feminine qualities, those such as rest, which is the yin to the yang of taking action, which is what most of us in Western culture are focused on. There is not as much focus on slowing down and resting when we need to because modern life is, well, it's demanding. And so keeping balance and allowing ourselves rest, not just when necessary, but as an intentional practice is so important. Realizing that we are cyclical beings, that cyclical nature being part of the feminine is very important, especially for women. Honoring our feminine cycle and understanding the different energies at play, which are constantly changing, having different qualities of each week, is huge. If we know what part of our cycle we are in, we know whether the body is craving rest or exertion, and whether the psyche is more in reflection mode or in planning mode. Unfortunately, these subtleties can become distorted with birth control. And I get it, I spent all of my 20s on birth control. I get that being able to control one's cycle is important to a lot of women, and so do what you need to do, and maybe pay more attention to the phases of the moon and use that as an energetic compass for keeping balance in your life. I personally track both my cycle and the moon, which has helped me to enjoy all of the subtle shifts of my feminine nature. I should probably make a video on this topic. If you're interested in a video about the subtle changes within the menstrual cycle and how to work with these energies, let me know in the comments below. But I digress. Another feminine aspect that I had to embrace when I realized I had adrenal fatigue was that of nurturance. This is where I really started to understand self-care. Feeding myself appropriately with nutrient-dense foods, treating myself naturally with herbs, getting the rest that I needed, learning to relate to myself more like an ideal and loving mother rather than a drill sergeant, keeping myself in line, which is exactly how I treated myself for many years, being so unnecessarily demanding on myself and berating myself when I failed to perform. Through embracing my feminine nature, I was able to soften and magnetize rather than hustle and chase. I realized that I actually could get all that I needed with far less energy. I started allowing everything that I needed to come to me rather than chasing after it. Our magnetism is a huge part of our feminine power, but unless we're really stepping into that, many of us end up actually repelling what we want. There is a way of being that draws in rather than pushes away. And from there, we get into a healthier expression of boundaries where we are using them to keep balance with what's coming in rather than using them as a form of defensiveness. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so I digress. If you're constantly feeling burnt out and exhausted, it's time to pause and listen to your body's whispers. The first sign of a feminine awakening is all about dropping the hustle and recognizing the importance of rest and self-nurturing to replenish your energies and setting healthy boundaries for yourself. As they say, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Number 2, feeling disconnected from your inner self. Have you ever felt like you're living on autopilot, disconnected from your emotions and desires? This feeling of numbness can be a sign that you've lost touch with your inner self. The first step towards a feminine awakening is to reconnect with your emotions, to honor and express them without self-judgment. Allow yourself to feel vulnerable and embrace the power of your intuition, which is a gateway to your most authentic self. Embracing our inner feminine requires us to let go of societal expectations and embrace authenticity. We may have been conditioned to conform to certain roles or behaviors, but the true joy arises when we liberate ourselves from these constraints and express our genuine selves. Authenticity is a powerful magnet that attracts people and experiences that resonate with our true essence, bringing immense joy and fulfillment into our lives. Another aspect of embracing our inner feminine is embracing self-compassion and self-care. We tend to be our harshest critics, setting impossibly high standards for ourselves. By practicing self-compassion, we treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a child or a close friend. Engaging in self-care activities such as meditation, spending time in nature, or pursuing creative endeavors nurtures our souls and fosters a genuine sense of joy. Society bombards us with unrealistic standards that leave us questioning our worth and desirability. But deep within, each of us holds immeasurable value. If you find yourself doubting your self-worth, it's time for a shift. It's important that we look at how we're treating ourselves. Are we relating to ourselves with love, nurturance, compassion, and care? Or are we berating ourselves and reinforcing negative messages such as, I'm not good enough? Meditation and reflection are great for witnessing ourselves. I personally find that journaling, especially when I'm in the midst of a difficult situation or emotions, is really helpful. When we take a step back and start listening to our own thoughts, we can begin to recognize our own limiting beliefs and thought patterns. Once we're able to notice and identify them, it's time to start rewriting the script. And rewriting the script is all about shifting perspectives, if you can, through self-inquiry. So when you find yourself with negative thoughts and beliefs toward yourself, ask, is this really true? Look for evidence to the contrary. Focus on your strengths. You can also use affirmations. I have done so much of this. Write positive statements that reinforce a more positive view of yourself and hang them on your bathroom mirror, or you can make them the wallpaper on your phone. That's usually what I do. Create a practice of saying lovely things to yourself each morning. I've had to do this on many occasions throughout my journey, and yes, sometimes you have to fake it. You know, the fake it until you make it, but eventually it works. It really does. Noticing the negative thought patterns and rewriting the script is like tending to the garden of your mind. You pull the weeds of self-doubt and you plant the seeds of self-love. 3, you are stuck in overthinking. This is a big one. I like to call this the thoughtmosphere, or as the yogis call it, the mental body. Wow, I do spend a lot of time here, but it's in balance now. I used to spend all my time here, and many of us do. So it's important that we take a moment to reflect on the intricate dance between our thoughts and our souls. Overthinking, that incessant churning of the mind, is often a telling sign that a call to embrace our feminine awakening is resonating within us. In a world where rationality and logic often dominate, we find ourselves entangled in a web of excess analysis and constant questioning. But what if, amidst this mental cacophony, lies an invitation to reconnect with the softness, the intuition, and the nurturing spirit of the divine feminine? Overthinking is a signal that we are neglecting the wisdom of our hearts, the guidance of our intuition. It's as if we're lost in a labyrinth of thoughts, unable to find the path that leads to our inner sanctuary. The feminine awakening in this context beckons us to slow down, to breathe, and to listen to the whispers of our souls. It encourages us to surrender the need to control every outcome and instead embrace the beauty of flowing with life's currents. As we traverse this path of awakening, we begin to untangle the knots of overthinking. We start to honor our emotions, acknowledging that they hold a unique wisdom that logic will never grasp. The journey is not a rejection of the mind, but a harmonious integration of both mind and heart. Our emotions are the yin to the yang of logic. This is about reclaiming our inner strength by acknowledging that vulnerability and intuition are equally potent sources of power. So if you find yourself trapped in the labyrinth of overthinking, let it be a sign that the call to embrace your feminine awakening is reverberating throughout your being. It's an invitation to pause, to rekindle the relationship with your intuition, and to allow the gentle wisdom of the feminine to guide you back to your authentic self. Intuition is an innate gift that we all possess. Intuition is an innate gift that we all possess. But in the chaos of modern life, we might have forgotten to listen to its whispers, which are really more like emotions that are felt in the body rather than thought with the mind. By quieting the noise around us and tuning into our intuition, we can make decisions that align with our true selves, leading to a more fulfilling life journey. 4, you crave authentic and creative self-expression. In a world so often defined by hustle and competition, tapping into our inner femininity can offer us a profound way to reconnect with our essence and find balance. And the feminine is wildly creative. Our desire to engage in artistic or expressive pursuits arises as a longing to connect with our inner self, our truest essence. Creativity becomes a bridge, a channel through which we can express thoughts, emotions, and ideas that often lie hidden beneath the surface. And this creative expression can look so many ways. For me, I get most excited when I sit in front of a new canvas just waiting to be adorned with the vivid strokes of my paintbrush. For you, it could be a quiet room waiting to be filled with the soft hum of a guitar or your beautiful angelic voice. It could be a journal eager to embrace the ink of heartfelt words, or a dance yearning to be released from your body. Perhaps it's jewelry waiting to be created so it can be adorned by you as the goddess incarnate that you truly are. And before you start in with the whole, I'm just not the creative type, or I don't know what I'm doing, creating art is about you and only you. This is for your own soul's development rather than the approval of others. And if you do want to share heartfelt and beautiful expressions, it is through regularly engaging in a creative practice that we're able to hone our craft and become skilled at the expression of our intrinsic passions. I never took art in school. I always fancied myself a writer, and my schedule was full of creative writing classes. It wasn't until I was well into my 20s that I discovered painting, and I never even took a class. I just picked up some canvas and paints. I used to print images off, cut them out, trace them, and then paint them in. As I dove deeper, I learned about tracing paper, and I did that for a while. Then I learned about blocking and began to actually develop my drawing skills, and my paintings began to take on a new depth. I started using paints right out of the tube, but eventually I learned about mixing color, and most of this was before YouTube. Imagine how much more quickly you can develop your skills with all of the free or low-cost education that's available to us through the internet now. And I have to say that over the last several years of regular painting, I've gotten pretty damn good. I often surprise myself and fall in love with my own creations, much of which have to do with expressions of the divine feminine. Surprise! By the way, I do have a very simple painting course that's actually grounded in an intention setting practice. It's perfect for beginners, and I will link that in the description below. But my dear kindred spirit, I implore you to embrace the beauty of creating art for your own soul's nourishment rather than seeking the fleeting applause of others. The canvas, the page, the instrument, they are all your sacred playground. When you paint, write, or play from the depths of your soul, you tap into a wellspring of emotion that transcends external judgment. Remember, the essence of art lies not in those who witness it, but in the solace that it brings to your spirit. Engaging in this creative practice regularly isn't just about mastering your craft, it's a journey of self-discovery. Engaging in creative practices is part of tapping into the divine feminine within us, a place where intuition, vulnerability, and authenticity weave together. As we immerse ourselves in our art, we begin to peel back the layers of societal expectations and personal limitations. We step into a realm where time slows down, where judgment fades away, and where the whispers of our inner voice can grow louder and louder. It's in these moments that we're dancing with the divine femme, allowing her to guide our hands and our hearts, encouraging us to explore the vast landscapes of imagination. Through this process, we begin to forge a deeper connection with ourselves, our emotions, and our spirituality. Creativity becomes a spiritual practice, a way to commune with our inner divinity. It's not just about producing beautiful art, it's about honoring the process, the act of creation itself as a sacred ritual. So let us embrace the call of our divine feminine nature and dive into the sea of creativity with open hearts and open minds. Let us understand that our yearning for artistic expression is not just about crafting masterpieces for the world to see, but about weaving the tapestry of our own souls. In this dance of creation, we find liberation, healing, and a profound sense of joy that permeates every facet of our lives. 5. Last but not least, you feel a deep yearning for community. Is it any surprise that in a world that often fosters competition among women, you might find yourself yearning for true connection and sisterhood or brotherhood? There is a profound connection between the presence of a supportive community and the blossoming of our sense of wholeness, a connection deeply intertwined with the feminine energy that flows within all of us. As humans, we are social creatures, meant to thrive within the embrace of nurturing relationships. Just as the divine feminine embodies qualities of compassion, empathy, and connection, so does the idea of community reflect these sacred attributes. Cultivating meaningful relationships and finding a supportive sisterhood or brotherhood provides a nurturing space for personal growth and self-expression. Through genuine connections, we can share our joys, sorrows, triumphs, reinforce our sense of belonging, and ultimately increase our overall happiness. Imagine a tapestry woven from threads of diverse souls, each contributing a unique hue to the masterpiece of life. When we are surrounded by a supportive community, we experience a profound sense of belonging and acceptance. It is within this sacred circle that we find solace in times of difficulty and share our joys to amplify the brightness of life. The presence of such a community becomes a mirror reflecting our intrinsic worth, helping us to discover the beauty of our authentic selves. Cultivating this community is a dance of reciprocity. It's about being a beacon of support for others, nurturing their growth just as they nurture yours. The divine feminine essence thrives in the sharing of stories, the offering of a listening ear, and the open arms that hold space for vulnerability. In these acts, we honor our interconnectedness, and in turn, we strengthen our sense of wholeness. To cultivate this nurturing community, we must start by showing up authentically. Share your joys and struggles. Allow others to see the real you. Seek out spaces where compassion and empathy are valued, where hearts are open and judgments are left at the door. Be a source of support for those around you, knowing that your kindness weaves threads of love and unity. Just as the divine feminine encompasses the power of creation and nurturing, so too does a supportive community nurture the seeds of growth within us. As we gather around the fire of shared experiences, we find that our sense of wholeness is enriched, our spirits uplifted, and our hearts illuminated by the warmth of connection. So let us weave our lives together, embracing the divine feminine's call for connection, compassion, and the nurturing embrace of a community that nourishes our souls. And that's it. These are the 5 signs that it's time for a feminine awakening. So just to recap, they are: 1, experiencing burnout and exhaustion. 2, feeling disconnected from your inner self. 3, you are stuck in overthinking. 4, you crave authentic expression. And 5, you yearn for like-minded community. So if you've been experiencing any of these signs, embrace them with an open heart. They are guiding you towards a powerful transformation. By balancing our feminine and masculine energies, reconnecting with our emotions, trusting our intuition, fostering meaningful connections with yourself and with others, and embracing our own authenticity, we pave the way to a more joyful and fulfilling life. As we embrace our feminine essence, it radiates through all aspects of our lives and inspires others to embrace their inner feminine and experience the transformative power of true happiness. So let's spread love. Together we rise. I would love to know what your experience has been like. Can you relate to any of these signs? Are you ready for a rebalancing in your own life? Let me know in the comments. I would love to share more on this topic, so please let me know if you have any questions at all. And also, I do want to mention that I offer oracle calls and spiritual guidance. So if you're feeling stuck, reach out to me. I'll post a link where we can connect in the description box below. And if you loved this video, be sure to hit subscribe so we can stay in touch. I hope you guys are all just having such a beautiful time in your lives. Thank you so much. Namaste.